Hi, welcome to my channel. So are you frustrated from being shorter than your friends? Don't worry, I'll teach you how to get taller. I'm 6'4" and I'll tell you what I did naturally to get to this height. Now there are many factors that affect the height of a person. I'm going to list them all for you and explain each and every one in details. And then I'm going to tell you how I become 6'4" as a teenager and what I did and all the secrets and tips that I did as I was growing up in my growth spurt. First of all, if you're 25 or older or already have your growth spurt and you still feel shorter than most people, there is not much you can do to get taller. But don't worry, I got you covered. There are some techniques you can follow to be taller. Just stick with me to the end of this video. I'm going to tell you about it just before the end of this video. There are 3 factors I wanted to focus on to be taller. I'll go over them one by one in order based on priority and importance. First and foremost, food and diet. You should have high protein diet. Protein is very crucial for your bone growth and muscle development. You can find protein in many kinds of foods like meat, milk. Try to eat a lot of meat like red meat, poultry, chicken, eggs, seafood, fish. All those are a great source for protein. Another good source for protein is milk, cheese, and dairy products in general. Milk is high in protein, calcium, and minerals that your bone needs. And if you're a vegan, you can find plenty of protein in legumes like beans, soy, peanut butter, nuts, walnuts, almonds. All of them are a big source of protein. If you don't have access to any of that for some reason, you can always resort to protein supplements like whey protein. However, you don't need it if you're on a healthy diet. Try to include more veggies in your diet because they have the calcium, zinc, vitamin D, and other vitamins and minerals that your body needs for normal growth. However, protein is much more important because these minerals basically exist in almost all sorts of foods. Steer clear from vitamins and supplements. You don't need them. Your body already getting its need of them from your daily consumption of food and veggies. Just if you have some medical condition, then it's alright. But if you're an average normal person, you don't need any of that. The second factor that affects your growth is exercising and sports and how active are you in general. So what are the exercises you need to get taller? Stretching exercises. Stretching exercises is something like Pilates and pull-ups and hanging exercises, etc. You can do it in a gym or at home, hanging on a bar or a branch of tree or something. And it's very effective for your growth. You can even see the changes and increase in your height within a month. The second thing you can do to be active is play sports and be an athlete. Even though all sports will enhance your height, some sports will make you even taller, like basketball, cycling, and volleyball. All these sports are very effective in increasing your height, and later in this video I'll share some story about height and cycling specifically. Try to play basketball at least half hour a day. If you can't, you can buy a bike and use it daily, or just work out, run, or do a cardio. That'll do the trick. Don't feel discouraged and annoyed if you missed one day, one meal, or exercise, or slept 1 hour less. Remember, the key here is consistency. I don't want you to go and do me 100 pull-ups and push-ups just because you're so pumped and excited. This is not how it goes. You have to do this for 2 to 3 years. One day won't have effect at all. And this goes the same for those people who are expecting to get taller in one day. You need at least 1 month to see half to 1 inch change. It's a painfully long process that will change your lifestyle. Don't think of it as a training or a chore. Think of it, have it as a lifestyle, like an athlete, for example. The third thing you should do for your height is sleep. Sleep is very important because it's the time of the day when your body grows and your bone starts to regenerate. Your sleep time and duration of your sleep changes depending on your age, but at your growth spurt, you should have from 9 to 10 hours of sleep a day. Your sleep time should be uninterrupted. Make sure to have a comfortable plain bed and mattress with no noise around and the lights switched off. You should have deep sleep. You should have a deep sleep at consistent periods when you sleep and wake up the same time every day. I'm gonna be honest with you, all these techniques and exercises are environmental factors and won't affect your height more than 25%. Because 75% of that person's height is predetermined genetically and you can do nothing about it. Just for surgical intervention, which is the only thing that can have a drastic change on your height and exceed those limits. However, it has its own disadvantages and side effects that can be detrimental for your health. As for those adults who already passed their growth spurt and puberty, you can embellish your height to make you look taller than you really are. For a woman, you can just wear heels, and if you're a guy, you might say it's much easier for a girl just to put on heels, and this is not the case. Believe me, and you're wrong. These days there's something called shoe lifts, or height increasing insoles, where you can stock up to 6 inches in your shoes and increase your height by 6 inches. And with a little adjustment of your pants over your shoes, it can hardly be noticed. And to make it even easier, there are some shoes you can buy right now from Amazon that have built-in shoe lifts where you can gain 6 inches instantly. Say you're 5'6", if you wear them, you immediately become 6 feet tall, which is the average height for men. And another thing you can do to look taller is wear slimming clothes, like tight dark clothes with vertical stripes, which create an optical illusion that makes you seem taller. Fitting clothing accentuates the line of your body and makes you look visually taller. Stand upright with a good posture. With your chin up, people will perceive you as taller than you really are. The biggest determinant of your height is your genetics. For example, the Netherlands are known to be the tallest people on the planet, with an average height of 6 feet for men. Leave a comment if you're from the Netherlands. While in some African countries, the average height is way shorter. It's kinda obvious at this point where people with a prosperous, healthier lifestyle and welfare have access to better nutrition than developing countries. Especially meat, which has the protein that is important for the growth of muscles and bone development in the body. But why, you may ask, why the Dutch are the tallest people? Why not their neighbor countries like Germany, Denmark or Sweden to be the tallest people? The reason possibly is that people very rarely use cars, and instead they use bikes for transportation. And that means most students use bikes for half hour daily to get to and back from the schools, which is an ideal amount of time needed for boosting the growth at that young age. This is my own theory, take it with a grain of salt. If you have an opinion, why are they the tallest? Tell me about it in the comment section. The main reason I mentioned the Netherlands is that we learned a lesson that good diet and exercise are everything. So genetics is a big thing. If you have a tall parents and tall grandparents, most probably you will end up being tall as well. Now, growing up in 2007, when I was in the beginning of my growth spurt in my puberty, I didn't have much information about what to do and how can I utilize my growth spurt the most and how can I have the most I can get out of it. But there are still websites and blogs dedicated for that matter. So I started researching on many websites about height and how to grow taller and all the workouts and exercises and all that jazz. I slept 9 to 10 hours a day, and I always made sure to have deep, uninterrupted sleep hours in a healthy environment where the lighting is dim and there weren't any noises that might wake me up. I bought a bar that can be mounted on a door or between two walls to do my pull-ups and stretching exercises, and it really helped me a lot. As for exercising, even though I wasn't playing sports a lot and I wasn't consistent with it, I did have a bike and I did cycling a lot, and I was doing the groceries daily during my growth spurt, so I think that pretty much covered it for me instead of sports. The only down part of my growth is probably my diet. My parents weren't always at home and they were busy most of the time at work, so mostly I was left with 2 meals, sometimes 1 meal a day, which is very detrimental for the growth. I managed to learn how to cook a few recipes at the time, and I got my necessary 3 meals for healthy growth, but I still think I would have been even taller if I had a better nutrition. If you find this information helpful, and if you want me to talk more in depth about height and growth, please tell me in the comment section. Because growing up, I was obsessed with being taller, and I have tons of information about it. If you made it this far, why not consider subscribing and supporting my new channel? That would really help me. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all next week with another new video. Bye!